Hi everybody, this is Brian Koo with another ROK video, and welcome to all my fellow gamblers checking in for another week of Osiris League betting. We've got another set of really good profitable bets for you to make. Before we get started, for those who are newer to Osiris League betting, a couple of things you want to really keep in mind here. Number one, you do get back half of all your losing bets. So it makes total sense to bet all your Aurics every single week. The other thing to keep in mind is that the odds on these matches, they change as the week goes on. They change based on what people are betting on. And your bet, the odds of your bet are not locked in when you place the bet. Your odds are the same as everyone else's, and those odds are finalized on Saturday when the betting window closes. The betting window closes about 12 hours before the first match takes place at the end of the day on Saturday. The final thing, and so those two things, are just a general overview of what we want to be doing in Osiris League betting. We made a video last week. We did decently last week. Let's go over last week's bets real quick. In Horus, we did go 0-2 with a couple of small losses there. Anubis, we went 3-1. We won our best bet of the week of 63 DS over PK. This one was a little bit close for comfort. They only won by about 7K points, and it was really one big mid fight that won it for them. But we got the best bet down last week. I've got another best bet this week. Last week, I bet against Lambo in this one. This week, the best bet is going to be even closer to my heart. I'm going to be betting against my heart this week. I'll let you know on that one coming up soon. And it just shows what a cold-hearted gambler I am. The odds are the odds. The Aurics are the Aurics. You can't have any emotion when you bet if you want to be a professional Osiris League bettor. We also won the bet here in Bastet, 65 AC over 394. We're going to do a bunch of bets in Bastet this week. Our bankroll is going to be 4,000 Aurics. And let's get right to it. So first and foremost, in the realm of Horus, we are going to be betting on 3174 against TS24. We're going to bet 10% of our bankroll, which the math is real easy this week. We're just going to bet about 400 Aurics per match. That's going to be about 10% of our bankroll. Now, so one bias that I have had over the years in Osiris League betting is I do tend to fade YouTubers. YouTubers give you access to what's happening in their kingdom. And in the case of TS24, the YouTuber Gosu, he has streamed some of TS24's ARC matches over the last year. And to be honest, I think that 1824 is they're a mid ARC team. They're not, all that expert in the way that they play ARC. And I don't really know anything about 3174. They put up some points against GT last week. It's hard to really get a read of either of these teams based on the scores of their matches. But having watched a number of ARC matches from 1824, I just think that, as a slight underdog, 3174 is a pretty good bet here. The next bet we're going to make in Horus is going to be on the match that I'm actually casting on the official Osiris League channel, or on the official ROK channel with Plato at 15 UTC. We're going to be casting SN94 from Kingdom 2941 against 1875's number one team, Ultra Instinct. We are going to be placing a 10% bet on 1875 here. And I'm going to place the bet, and then I'll give you my reasoning on this one. What I'm basing this on really is what 1875's B team did last week. The B team from 1875 last week pulled the upset against Kingdom 1818. 1818 has been a good Osiris League team for the last couple years, and the B team from 1875 did pull off the upset last week, winning by about 9,000 points. So I didn't watch this match, but I just have to respect the fact that 1875 seems to be a very strong ARC team this season. And so we are going to go ahead and bet on their A team. to win this match against at 2941. Now, moving on to the realm of Anubis. Let me, by the way, grab the my remaining Aurics there. Moving on to the realm of Anubis now, we have got a couple of bets here as well. We are going to bet. We faded 2934 last week. We're going to fade them again this week. MCN won last week, and they've got 4 stars. They've got a lot more power than 2934. And I feel pretty good about fading 2934 again here as a potential kingdom in decline at the moment. So again, we're going to bet 10%. We're betting 10% on all the bets except for the best bet, which we will get to in Bastet. So there is the bet on MCN. And we are also going to bet on, we bet on the A team from 1875. We're going to bet on the B team from 1365, INT. INT beat 93P in the division semifinals. That was a huge win for INT over 1093's team. Last week, they did lose to 1188, but made it pretty respectable. Pretty respectable score here by INT last week. We watched a bit of 3310 in their win against 1473. It was a nice win by 3310. They didn't do anything crazy. They used Time Warp and To the Death a second time for that third arc. They won the third arc. If I remember correctly, the pull of that third arc was extremely important. It was a very close match. Like, all aspects of this match were very close. So that gives us a bit of a ceiling, I would say, on how good 3310 is. And I just think it makes sense here as a tiny underdog to bet on 1365 here, a team that beat one of 1093's teams earlier in this Osiris League. Let's go ahead and bet on this one as well. We might run out of Aurics a little bit because I'm betting slightly more than 400, but whatever. And then our last 4 bets are all going to be in the realm of Bastet. We've got a little bit over half of our bankroll left, and let's get to deploying that. So first bet we're going to make is we are going to bet. The odds aren't great here, but I like this bet nevertheless. We're going to bet on 489 against 65 AC. I did get confirmation that the skillcaster from 489's team last year, BK Love is back. He has returned to the game. He retired after 489 lost to 60 GT in the Osiris League championships last year. Or actually, it was in the realm of Anubis finals. It was that epic 3-game series in the realm of Anubis finals where 489 lost to 60 GT. BK Love retired after that. He is now back. And I think 1489 is a very strong Osiris League team once again. 65 AC has been strong, but we're going to go ahead and place this bet on 489, 10%. We won't get a huge reward here, but it's just like a very solid bet on one of the strongest teams in Bastet. Now, at this point, we get to our best bet of the week. We're going to bet 30% on this one. We won our best bet last week, and we're going back to it again here. We are going to bet on Beer to beat DVL. Beer is a team that did pretty well in the Grand Prix last season, and a lot of the players from that Beer squad, they are in a kingdom together. They're actually in a kingdom together. I believe that this is a kingdom that is largely being built to have a very good Osiris League team. Beer practices quite a bit, and we are going to make our first of possibly many bets on Beer this season against DVL here. Let's go ahead and bet 30% on Beer. So about 1,200 Aurics here. And listen, I'm fading DVL, right? I'm fading DVL. I'm a member of DVL. I'm in DVL right now. Like, I'm DVL Brian Koo, you know? So I am fine betting against DVL. I'm not really in DVL. What has happened is that Kingdom 1900 are in our camp for this KVK. So we have merged kingdoms into, or merged alliances into one alliance for this KVK. It's working out really well. We're getting plenty of gold chests. Shout out to DVL for all the gold chests, and shout out to our own members who are doing their part. So yeah, I am just going to fade the alliance that I'm actually in here, and I suggest you do the same because beer is very, very strong. Now we've bet on a couple of favorites, and so let's change that up a bit here. We're going to bet on a couple underdogs to close things out here. We're going to bet on 885N against MCM. 1885 was in the top 32 last season. I remember watching, I think I cast one of their matches actually. They weren't like an amazing team, but listen, they've got 7 stars and they've been in the top 32 before. MCM, I've fought against these guys in KVK, organized but not really that strong. They don't like a strong open field team or anything like that. MCM did win last week with 88.5. Like, you can't tell too much from this. You know what? I'm going to scrap this one. I'm scrapping this. I'm just looking at their scores a little bit more and seeing that MCM has won like very comfortably, whereas 885 has had some struggles along the way. We're going to scrap this bet. We're going to change that one up at the last minute here. We are going to bet on W257 against Occur. I'm not even going to look at the scores this time because I've only got one other bet in my back pocket. So let's do that. W257 against Occur. I'll tell you what I like about this one here. So Aqua is actually in first place in gathering in the Osiris League so far. You can get a decent bit of information from the individual stats. You can kind of look at some different things, like the provision score, for example, and see how many provisioning points teams are getting. This is not like, it doesn't tell you a ton, but it tells you that certain teams are, organized enough to maximize their point gain in a lot of different categories. You can see that 3257 is in 5th place in this, in overall provisioning. As an individual, this player Aqua DR is in 1st place in provisioning. So I just like the, I think that shows a bit of organization there. And it's from their results, Aqua makes a bit of sense as well. They've won very comfortably in all of their matches so far. Occur had a bit of a struggle last week. And so as a very, very slight favorite, we're going to go with W257 here. Now, we've still got 410 points left because we got scratched that bet on 1885. I am going to go ahead and bet on... I'm going to bet on OWR against IF28. Again, it's a favorite, but this seems like just a solid bet here. OWR 2638, one of the up-and-coming kingdoms in this game. They just won a big KVK recently. IF28 is like about as old school of a kingdom as exists in this Osiris League. I mean, I guess 1093 is a bit more old school, but 1228 was competitive in the very early days of Rise of Kingdoms. This is Shinshi's old kingdom, for those who have really been around for a long time. IF28 lost last week to OXO, so I just think that OWR is likely to be a class ahead of IF28 here, and so we'll just go ahead and bet the remaining autarchs on OR to win here. I will point out that we do have the rankings back this season. These didn't exist last season, but we do have the rankings, and you can see how you're doing in your realm, which the realm is, I guess it's probably the realm of Bastet, actually. I think you are organized by your realm that you played Osiris League in, probably. And you can also do it by your kingdom. I was a mediocre 37th last week, looking to improve on that this week. We made some solid bets, maybe we bet on a couple favorites too many, but that's just kind of how I saw things. There were a lot of tricky matches this week is what I would kind of say. So I stayed away from a few. I felt like this pool here is like a really interesting one, but it's just like really tricky. Like 1486 barely beat 1592 last week. Is it because 1486 is better than we think, or Was VV worse than we thought? I'm just not sure. 18-18 loss. I mean, both of these matches, I was wrong about both of these matches in this group last week. You can see that they're, again, like very, very close, interesting matches, but it's just too tricky for me. I don't want to risk things on like things I'm uncertain about. So we did, place about half on favorites, half on underdogs, and we're feeling very good about our bets this week. Let's go ahead and pull up the betting summary so you can very easily put your own bets in. So right up top, we've got our best bet of the week, beer over DVL for 30% of our bankroll. All the other bets are going to be a flat 10% bet. We are betting on ULT over SN41. We're betting on 3174 over TS24. In the Anubis bracket, we're betting on MCN over W34X and INT over 3310. In Bastet, we're betting on 489 over 65AC, W257 over Occur, and then also going back to Horus, we are betting on OWR over IF28. Do throw a like on this video if you're enjoying these betting recommendations. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And best of luck in all your action this week.